the sake of us being live. So if we are live right now, I want to say thank you for watching this video. Either you'll be watching the playback or you're on right now. So we're just trying to get our system situated. But while we're doing that, do me a quick favor and share it with your mom, your sister, your cousin, your brother, your neighbor down the street.
Everybody, Pookie and them.
Pookie and them. And look, Nem is actually spelled N-E-M.
NEM.
So Pookie and M. All right. So I am Demetrius Dew, and we are here because the PENS program has an initiative or a program under the program called the PenPal Mentoring Program. And so what we've been doing every 2 weeks is having sessions with people just like Brandon, being able to share information that people can use, students can use of all ages, right? Whether you're a student in middle school, high school, college, or you're just a student of life, right? We're doing these sessions so that we all can gain something to enhance ourselves. But today, somebody say today. If you're with me, just say today. Even if you're watching the playback, somebody say today. But today we have my good friend and brother, Brandon Gathers, and we're really going to be here talking about the unorthodox routes to success, right? The unorthodox routes to success. You see me here. I'm on my phone trying to make sure people get the new link because we had some difficulties. However, we're gonna persevere through this.
Student.
We're gonna persevere through it. So, the unorthodox routes to success, right? So, before I move any further, you guys know who I am now. I want to have my good friend and brother to introduce himself uh, in his own way. So, Brandon, please, the floor is yours.
Well, God bless you. First giving honor to God. First giving honor to God is out of my life.
Oh
Nah,
my God!
I appreciate you not giving no long intro. I can't
There you
stand.
go. There you go.
Okay. All right, guys. I'm Brandon Gathers. I am 25 years old. A June baby. So that's a cool fact. I am from Orangeburg, South Carolina. Born from Atlanta or in Atlanta, and
You were
I'm
born in Atlanta?
yeah, I was.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I just, I don't act like I'm from Atlanta or anything. I'm pretty country, but anyway. So, from Orangeburg, I currently reside in Charlotte, North Carolina. After I graduated South Carolina State University, all right,
There we go. There we
go
go.
Bulldogs,
There we go.
and yeah, I am a musician, and I am also a photographer and videographer,
Awesome.
and yeah, I
All
love the
right.
Lord.
So let's get into it. Like people say, I like when they say this. Now let's get into it. So let's get
I,
into it. So we know that you said South Carolina State that you are a graduate. But let's go a little bit further back because
okay.
I can remember when we met,
Uh-huh.
and that was maybe what 2016, 15,
Probably so, yeah.
maybe 15. What year did you leave Winthrop?
I left Winthrop between, yeah, I want to say 20. Yeah, it had to be 2015.
So I think we met 15. So talk about your journey, bro, from actually going to college and not necessarily going to South Carolina State first. Talk
Okay.
about that really quickly.
So after I graduated high school, first of all, I only applied to one college,
Wow.
and that was Winthrop University. And
Okay.
I got in. Praise God.
Right.
So
Okay.
got in, went to Winthrop, and I went there for business. Excuse me. I went there for music theory and composition.
Okay.
Now, if anybody that knows music theory, they know that's a tough subject. That's like going to school for to be a doctor or something. Like music theory is hard. And so, needless to say, I did not finish. It was just very hard for me. My grades were horrible.
Okay.
Um, and of course, I did a little slacking off. I can't just all say it was just hard, but
Tell the
I
truth. There
slacked
you go.
off. It was freshman year,
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
all been there.
Right.
Mine was just a little, harder than others.
Right.
And I didn't finish school. I basically like said I'm not going to do this, and I was really going to not go back to school. And if I did, it was going to be one of the USC's in like upstate or Columbia, but it was I was not going back to Orangeburg. I was
Mm,
not. I was determined not to go back home and go to school there, just because I just didn't want to be home. Like I lived there for X amount of years. I didn't want to come back and go back to school in Orangeburg. But
mhm.
fast forward, I ended up going to South Carolina State because of my mentor. She
Okay.
talked me into, and her name is Mrs. Rachel Jamerson Holmes, very, very good mentor of mine. She talked me into going to South Carolina State because she's a fellow Bulldog, and I went there. Hated it my first year. Freshman year was the worst because I was technically a sophomore.
You
Um,
hated it?
I did. I
I
really
didn't know
did.
that. I didn't.
I hated it, but
I didn't know that.
it was just it was very different dynamics going from a PWI to HBCU, and so
Okay.
and then it was like my mindset was, I'll just say it was more mature than that of the people that I was in class with,
I remember.
and so I, I was always at that point. I was like, all right, let me just come to class, get this work done, so like we can get out of here. I don't got time to be playing games,
Right,
playing
right, right.
music, and I don't got time for all that. So, yeah, it was very, very hard that first year, but I got through it. It was, of course, just like any other student. I had times where I did not want to finish school. I was ready to quit. I was ready to give up.
Yep.
But through a lot of my peers, mentors, and loved ones, they continue to help push me. And a fun fact, I ended up graduating South Carolina State with my dad. So he went to school like to get um, his master's. So my halfway mark, that's when he came into South Carolina State, and we didn't even plan on finishing school together, but we did, and it was a really really cool thing to say, like, I graduated with my father. So
All right, since you're gonna bring that up, let them know how famous you are. Don't just say that, and don't talk about the story behind it. Don't do that to the people now.
no, 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 no.
Let them know how famous you are. Let them know that you had 15,000 shares with your dad, and you've been on the news.
So that was because of my granny. So my granny is the one who well, once me and my dad found out that we were graduating together, we were like, okay, cool, like, that's really cool. That's literally all we thought about it. We didn't think anything else, or we need to do this, or we need to put it on the news. Like, we weren't thinking nothing of that. And so my granny is the person who called the radio, I mean, not radio stations, the news stations, and told them the story, and that's how they reached out to us. And we got a little commercial, whatever you want to call it, and from there it just went out there. So radio stations started calling, news stations, and so we did multiple news station commercials, or whatever you want to call them, and
Hmm.
it was really cool. We went on talk shows uh, for the radio, and it was just a really cool experience. Even we had one of the producers from Ellen call us, so that would have been a really really amazing opportunity. But it didn't end up happening. So it's all good. But it was just really cool just to know that, like, all right, we got that far out there. So
Yeah,
it kind of was a big deal. But I mean, at this point, I'm just like, it's still cool just to say I graduated with my dad. So
yeah. So let's talk about. So you got Winthrop, South Carolina State. We haven't even gotten to anything else. Yes, let's just kind of take our time here, right?
take your
You
time,
got
take your
you
time.
got Winthrop, South Carolina State, right? What do you define, or what did you define as success at that point in your life? Because you just transferred from Winthrop. You graduated with your dad. He has his master's. You have your bachelor's. At that point in your life, what did you define as success?
At that point in my life, I define success as just a general sense, or me. Like,
Just you.
all right, so I definitely wanted to be touring the world, playing drums, or um, selling my buttons, and having this whole clothing line for my business, Just Be You Apparel. I was literally gonna just be out here just making a whole bunch of money, and living life. That's really what I wanted to do, but really like make a huge impact on a bunch of people's lives around my age, just to uh, affirm them that they don't have to be anybody else. They don't have to try to be like their parents or be like their brother, sister, or friends or idols. Like they literally can just be themselves. So I wanted
Yeah,
to impact the world by my buttons, inspirational buttons and t-shirts, like just a whole clothing line. But just really just make money with that, because that's something that brings me a lot of joy, and it brings a lot of joy, it brings money, and it impacts people in a good way.
got you. So great segue into you talking about what do you define as success. Now let's talk about your business
Okay.
because you started your business, and I don't want you said the name already, but maybe they didn't hear you. But you started your business in high school,
Yes.
right? So what's the name of it, and why did you start it?
So the name of the company is Just Be You Apparel, and I started it in 2012, my junior year of high school. So it wasn't official, but it all started with me seeing my friend Sean Taylor, who's from Orangeburg. He's a huge rep from Orangeburg. Everybody knows his clothing line called Berg. So if you're from Orangeburg or that area, like everybody knows who Sean is. And so Sean used to make buttons with a lot. That's what a lot of people don't know. He used to make buttons in high
Hmm.
school
Hmm.
before he started doing his shirts, or he did it along with his shirts. And so I told him, I was like, yo, like I want to get some buttons from you. Like, how did you make the buttons? And
Hmm.
so he would never tell me. And so
Wow,
I
come
felt a
on
little
now.
hurt, but I got the concept, but I was a little hurt. So what I did, instead of just be like, man, you don't want to see me be great, or you don't care or whatever, like I just went and looked it up myself on how to do it. And so
Right.
I started making, well, I found a website that I could use to make buttons myself. And so I started making them. And once I did that and they came, I wore them at school, and people were like, yo, Brandon, like these buttons are pretty cool. Like, where'd you get them from? And I was like, I made them, you know? And so
Hmm.
once people were like, yo, I want to buy the, or I want to, can you get me some too? Immediately it clicked. Oh, I'm charging. Okay, $1. That literally was the first thing that came to mind. So I was like, yeah, it's $1. And so I started making them and selling them. And like before I knew it, I was selling a lot. And I'm like, dang, like this is something, this has become something a little serious, a little side. This is a side hustle at this point. Cause I can bring in around $100, $200, maybe every 2 weeks, 3 weeks or so. That's pretty good extra money, in high school, aside from working my job. So I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, let's do it. And so by the time senior year rolled out, and I was about to graduate, I said, I really want to make this a business. And literally, the Lord just gave me Just Be You one day, and I stuck with it.
Mm.
And so I initially did it because it was just something I wanted to learn how to do. And
Mm.
once people started liking my designs, I was like, okay, yeah, we're going to monetize and charge. So
Yeah.
that's how it all started. And then of course from that it it evolved into something more meaningful than just making money. So
Mm. So, so how unorthodox was one having a business in high school? How many other students had businesses while you were in high school?
it was
And you,
very, very few,
wow.
very few, very few.
Yeah. And so then I know college was a little bit more saturated, and then not only people that had businesses, but how many businesses were out there at that time from high school to college that were selling buttons?
No one. Besides Sean. And I want to say he was just giving them away with like a
Yeah.
purpose of a shirt.
Right.
So don't quote me on that, but that's what I believe he was doing back then. But as
Yeah.
far as selling just buttons, it was just me, and that was all the way through college. Like every time I went somewhere, and I once I started vending, when I was in college, that like everybody was always coming to my table because I was like, they were like, "You're selling what?" Like, and then that I got more not complex, but I just evolved it more, and I pretty much like was able to make buttons on the spot. And so if I can make custom stuff for you on the spot, that's when it clicked to everybody. Like, oh, this is a cool thing. Like
Yeah.
this is something I don't see every day. So, but it was no one that had that that was doing what I was doing. No one.
All right. So you go from making buttons in high school, charging $1, to now having opportunities to vend different places and being able to make a button that somebody wants in person. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Here go
Man,
your button.
man.
Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Here's your button, right?
Oh, yeah,
It was one year you had an article, bro, and it was talking about the amount of profit that you made for the year. Can
yeah.
you talk about that? Like literally, you start an idea, you start just be you, and now you get. I don't know how much money it was, right? But now maybe you're not swimming in money, but
Nah,
but you're like paddling in it, right?
paddle
And,
it. Oh,
and so now you're paddling in money. Can you talk about that, bro? Like you go from starting it, but now you literally have money coming in. And,
yeah.
and what does that process look like? What does the process look like as far as like equipment, now needing to invest in what you have more of, so or so you can make more of it? So what does it look like, the success of it, and then the groundwork that goes behind it?
So, um, as I after college, like that's when I was well during college, I was doing a lot of vending, and pretty much the fee itself, like for me to the cost of it, the event for me to vend, was little to nothing compared to like what I would be making on those events. And that's what allowed me to be able to pay for like all my different um, components that require the buttons to be made. But essentially, it costs little to nothing.
Yeah.
Like I can buy as like everything in bulk, and it's a very small amount compared to what I can charge and what I make back. And
Hmm.
so it was that process was very simple.
Yeah.
Um, but vending it allowed me to have so many connections because I'm meeting so many people in one setting. So that's what allowed me to be able to keep business going because of just one because of my personality. Not saying that I'm the most best, nicest, coolest person ever, but I'm all right. And so I'm able to get along with people. I
The
can
most best.
the most best. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not the most best, coolest. Yeah, whatever. So, but I get along with people, and so I try to meet people where they are, and because I'm in business, I'm in customer service. I try to give people the best service, the best customer service that I can, and that is what really brings people in. It's not so much the product, but like you can give the best customer service trying to sell somebody uh water, and they was like, you know what, I don't know if I needed this water, but let me just get a water. Let me get a
There
water.
you go. There you go.
So it
That's
literally
real.
was always customer service for me, and
Always customer service.
that's what I honestly feel like attracted so many people towards my business, and what kept people, because
Yeah.
it's the difference between bringing in business and then keeping business.
Yeah.
So but yeah.
So let's shift to this question because I feel like this is the home run tonight, right? So
Oh,
for
and
those of you,
I never answered your question about that one year, about how much money came in. So it was about 10,000 that year, of amount of money that the business brought in, which was really good.
and just off of buttons alone,
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, that I meant to answer that question first. But go ahead.
buttons alone. Nah, nah. And and while you're listening to this, those that are watching, those that will see the playback, he has articles out there. So if you type his name in, you're gonna see these articles.
You don't have to do all
But no,
that.
no, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. No, no. You can check the receipts. They're there,
I
right?
guarantee.
Yeah, you can check the
So
receipts.
funny.
This is some real information here. This is not somebody that's just talking. No, it's out there on
Right.
websites. You
Yeah.
you you literally can see it. But Brendan, let's shift. Let's talk about something that the world is in right now. We're in this entrepreneurial phase, and a lot of people are taking that leap. Right? A lot of people are saying that they want to be 110% self-owned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Self employed,
Employed.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They want to be self-employed. So that's what we are. We're in this phase now, and you have now transitioned out of what would be deemed as the most orthodox route for success.
Yeah.
However, you took an unorthodox route to success. So talk about, bro, graduating from college, having a great job with benefits, whole nine. Let's go there. Let's go there, man. Let's talk about the job that you had with the benefits, and then you stop, come to a halt. I feel this urge to go into another route, which is very unorthodox. Maybe people are fighting me tooth and nail. Let's talk about that for a minute because I think there are going to be a lot of people that's going to gain something from you.
All right. So I moved to Charlotte. I worked multiple jobs throughout the time I was here. I've been here 2 years now. In September, it'll make 2 years. I've been here 2 years now, but I worked a few jobs being here. And the last job I worked at was, let's just say, a bank. So I was
Okay.
working at a bank, and um, I was getting paid every week. I had benefits. I mean, insurance. I had it all. I
Great
was
schedule
literally
too.
and a great schedule. Yes, off on weekends. I mean, literally, I had a just fine job. I literally could not complain. Like if it, I mean, we complain about little stuff, but to be honest, I really couldn't complain about nothing because I got off on time. That's that alone, I got off on time and I had weekends off, getting paid every week, and I had benefits. Like there was no issue, and my boss was cool. Like management was this was the first job ever that management was like A1. Like I never had any problems out of management. So yeah, it was a great job, and I was working there for I want to say about 5 to 6 months. So it wasn't even a long time for me. Like that's really a short time, but like most of my jobs, I've worked short periods of time just because I'm like a person that likes to try a lot of different things. And so aside from that, I was working there that amount of time, and I knew from the beginning because I always wanted to be a full time entrepreneur. So like all the way since high school, I knew like I'm not working for no job forever. And
Ooh.
so literally every single job I worked at, I knew I wasn't gonna be here long. And that's what I used to say to everybody, like my more so my coworkers, not so much management, but but
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
even management at my last job, I told him in the interview process because he asked me, he said, "What is it that you want to look? What are you looking to accomplish here, or just in life?" And so I told him, I said, this job is literally just a stepping stone for before I get to where I want to go."
Wait 1 second. How scary was it or is it to you, right? To be able to articulate that to a person. Because for some people, if someone says like, what are your goals? What do you want to do? And I want to break down the story because there's like moments of, being able to take information from it. So how
Yeah,
scary is it, bro? Or how scary can it be to be in a conversation with your manager in an interview and they're like, what do you want to do? And you confidently say, I want to own my own, rather than saying I want to work for this company,
yeah,
making it the best that it can be. Right?
yeah.
I would love to be on your team. I see how you. How scary can that be, bro? And is the information worth sharing?
That's a good question. So it can be extremely scary, very very scary to I don't want to say admit that, but just to give that extra information that you don't necessarily need to give.
Yeah.
It's extremely scary. But for me, it wasn't scary at all. I knew from the beginning, like I
Yeah.
said. So it never was an issue for me because I always knew what I wanted to do, and I had enough confidence in me.
Woo.
Let's put a pin right there. I had
There you
enough
go.
confidence in me to know if you don't give me this job, I'm gonna find something else.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a fact of me not thinking like, oh, I don't want to say this because I may not get the job. No, I'm
Mm.
gonna let you know how I am from the beginning,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
in case anything happens down the road.
Yeah.
Um, and also, you're not the end all be all.
Yeah.
This is not as millions of other jobs that I could apply for that I already applied for. Okay, this
Right.
is
Right. Right.
one
Yeah.
of the interviews that I've
Yeah.
already done. And
Yeah.
so, if you give me the job, cool. If not, cool. I will move on. But I'm definitely going to do my best to keep it 100 throughout the entire process because I owe you that. And you owe me that same respect.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so that's pretty much what it was for me. But it definitely can be extremely scary. But you just have to have enough confidence in you to know, like, because it's not about the fact that uh, you don't want them to know what you're really trying to do. It's the fact that if they don't allow you to help them, then it's their loss. That's just the bottom line. I already
Yeah.
know, like, any company that I go to, I'm going to add so much value. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if it's a call center or if it's passing out napkins or if it's computer tech. Like, literally, I'm going to add to the company somehow, whether it's ideas, uh, labor, physical labor, or literally, it's just so much that I know I can add to a company, and it doesn't matter what company it is. That's just how
Mm,
much confidence I have.
yeah.
So it's not. It's every interview you go to. You shouldn't think of it as like, oh, like I don't know what they're going to think if I say this. Like, you're adding value to them, even in this conversation. Like whatever conversation you have with that person, you're adding value. So either you want to add value or withhold value.
Brandon, let me ask something real quick because I think sometimes when people think about adding value, we only think about it from the standpoint of that interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in the interview, I shared that I want to be an entrepreneur, etc. However, how important is it to have a good work ethic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe that you can say this too, that the confidence that you have that I'm wherever I go, I'm going to add value is not only because of me being able to adequately confess it, but my work ethic goes along with it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
that's good. Um, I was thinking about so much. Repeat that one more time.
Yeah, just asking, man, how important is it to not only be able to verbally say or verbally have this affirmation of, I know that I'm a great fit for anybody. I'll be able to contribute and make your company go to another level. Not only just have the affirmation, but also have the work ethic to go with it.
Okay. So the question I would ask is, um, what has your mindset been this whole time before the interview? So
Mm,
by that I mean, has your mindset always been like, I'm going to go on this job, do this job, make or just for this paycheck, or am I going to do this job because I want to work here, I want to add value, and I want to actually do my best on this job?
yeah,
So that it all starts with your mindset. So you can, and of course you can say whatever, but you have to mentally know that you or believe that you can do something and actually like plan to do it.
yeah.
So it all starts with what you think you can do. Um, and I mean, but it's very important because who wants to be all talk?
You know what I'm saying?
So
Who wants to be all talk?
yeah, who wants to be all talk? So, but it all starts with your mindset. You literally have to uh, just start with that and know what exactly you can do and what you can provide for people.
Yeah. All right. So look, we're in 2020, right? It
Mm-hmm.
is sorry, we're in 2021,
Yeah.
but I'm going back to year 2019, and you agreed. But we're in
Mm-hmm.
2019. YLC conference. We're in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're taking photos right now. At the time you're taking photos, you're still working at Wells Fargo, right?
Yep.
So at the time you're taking photos, you're working at Wells Fargo. We then go into a year where there's a pandemic that happens unexpectedly. Nobody knows it's going to come. I think that year you had been planning on going 100% entrepreneur anyway,
Yeah.
right? That got postponed. However, in the pandemic, when you pivoted and is it pivoted or when you pivot?
We're just gonna go with both.
Okay, okay. So when you decided to
Y'all know what
pivot,
we mean.
right? So when you decided to pivot and say, I'm going into this photography thing, videography thing full time, what was that feeling like?
Whew.
And describe full time now, like because people pivoted. Okay, so people may hear you saying that I do photography and videography, and I still have the Wells Fargo's job. Like, please let them know, no, no. Like, literally, you burned that one. That's
Yeah,
like it's no more going back.
that joint is done.
It's done, and you're full time doing. So talk to that, bro, because I believe there's somebody here that may be wrestling in between. Should I stay at my job, or should I go ahead and shift into something that I've been really longing to do for a while, really, really desiring to do, but I've been having my foot one foot in and one foot out.
Mm-hmm.
I've been tapping the water every now and then, but it's like, do I really want to take that risk? So talk about that, bro, and then talk about the successes, because there were times I don't want to give it all away, but I just want to
No,
give
you
some
good. You
details.
good.
But there were times, bro, in the pandemic where you were making great money. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you ain't tell me all the numbers, but I can just tell from the market, right?
Yeah.
So so talk about that, bro. You burned the building. Wells Fargo is gone.
Gone.
No
Done.
more benefits. No
None.
more 9 to 5. You
Yeah.
make your own schedule,
Yeah.
and you shift totally 110% into this new world of videography, or let's just say new world of media.
Yeah.
Talk about that, please.
Okay. So, during the pandemic, I started photography and videography, well, photography 2 years ago. So literally like right shortly after I moved to Charlotte, um, uh, I started photography. And nowhere near in my scope did I see doing this full time.
Yep.
That was literally going to be something to help my button business with just
Mm,
be you. So that had nothing to do with what I'm doing now. Videography was nowhere near in play. That was nowhere near in sight. And so um, once I actually started, like getting into it and perfecting my craft, pandemic came. So we're fast forwarding, and when I lost the job with Wells, and got the unemployment. Went
wait,
back.
did you lose a job because of the pandemic?
Yes,
Wow, I
yes,
didn't know that.
yes. Lost a job, got an unemployment for like 2 months or so, and after that, I was just trying to find a job and still trying to make ends meet. But that's when photography and videography started picking up. I mean,
Mm,
like, the demand started going up, and my name, along with the name that I'm attached to, which is the Creative Hub, started going in the wind. And so, and it wasn't so much my name, but just the Creative Hub's name, the brand that I helped build, started just going in the wind. So churches needed my help, businesses needed my help, people personally needed my help with doing stuff, because at this point, being on social media was a thing. It was something to like we spoke privately, and we was like, attention is the new commodity. And
yeah,
so
currency.
currency, I'm sorry, currency. And so it was just so crazy how that all happened, and I was literally sustained throughout the whole pandemic. Even after I got a job, like, that literally helped just secure so much for me financially. And
Pause for a second. Pause, because you said something, and I can't leave allow you to keep talking without pointing this out. So you said your name began to rise and began to catch wind because of who you were around. Bro, how important is environment when it comes to shifting and pivoting? How important is that? Because like you could have went into the pandemic, okay, or yeah, in the pandemic, and your name could not have rose as much as it did
yeah.
because of the environment. So like how important was it for you to get in the right environment with the right people to be able to cultivate those skill sets, etc.? How important was that, and and how do you know what's the right environment for you?
Whew. Okay, I'm gonna try to answer both questions.
Okay,
Um, it is extremely important to get in the right environment. What I have learned, and I give him his props. Jamal Clark has taught me this,
there you go.
from the creative of itself. When he first told me about the business, he said, "You can all." I'm just like paraphrasing what he said, but you can do so much by yourself. You can do some amazing, extraordinary things. But if you had somebody just as talented, just as skillful, just as creative, or more people doing the same thing, coming together towards the same goal,
Yeah,
you all will accomplish the most craziest stuff that you couldn't imagine by yourself.
yeah, yeah,
And so it's so important to be able to have a mindset of team and not just so much I.
yeah.
And so it was extremely important, but I really had to learn that. And
Mm,
so that was it. I'm saying it's important now because I've learned this information. But for somebody that grew up and did a lot of stuff by myself, like just be you, I built that brand by myself for the most part. I
yeah.
had people, my family and friends along the way that helped me, like at vending events and stuff like that. But essentially, the brand I built, and so
Yes.
um, just coming to Charlotte, like living with the people, living with the person I am have now, and hanging around my friends. Like you have to be able to have people who can tell you the truth and mean it, and you not take offense or you not uh, feel offended. Like it's so important just to be able to have good guidance from people who only want the best for you.
Yeah. Who only
And
want the best
so
for you.
so yeah, it was extremely important to understand team and how much you could accomplish with just more than one person.
Yeah.
And the second question was,
How do you know when it's the right environment?
how do I know it was the right environment? um when I was offended. When I felt like what I used to think about a lot of situations and events were right.
Mm,
When I learned that there's so much more to a situation than just my perspective, um, that's when I knew, like, okay, these, and it wasn't coming from a bad place or a negative place or anywhere that I couldn't learn, a situation I couldn't learn from.
yeah.
That's when I knew that I was in the right environment, because people will, if you have true friends and family, they're well, I mean, family is family, but if you have true friends, they'll tell you the truth. Right. If you have true friends, they'll tell you the truth and it not come from a bad place where, like, oh, I told you so or whatever. Like, they're gonna tell you this information so they can help you so you can be better.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I knew, because I was offended
Yeah.
in a lot of situations.
Yeah. So let's go back to the story. So you're in the pandemic. You've shifted now. Videography is rising. Name is rising. Jamal is helping. He's helping give insight. You're now, I guess, at a point where you're like, should I go back to work or should I just choose videography or media as my life?
So I was working at Wells, and everything was going just fine. I still was doing everything else on my side job with photography, videography. I was still doing all that on the side, um, and it was great. But I noticed towards the time that I quit that I didn't have enough time to do a lot of stuff that I wanted to do. And certain events I had to miss because, like, some of that stuff was during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And even stuff that I like, videos that I had to watch, or like new skills that I wanted to learn. Of course, I would want to do that, during the daytime or time that I have, that's free, because at night that's when I'm recording events and doing all this other stuff, and I
Yeah.
just didn't have that time. Even though I was working from home, I still wasn't as, like, free as I wanted to be. So
Wait. So you saying you went back to Wells Fargo?
yes,
Okay.
so that, yeah,
Because
I was working there, still in the pandemic. I went back because I didn't. Yeah, I went back. I don't even really know why. I don't know, because unemployment was there and then whatever. But I went back, but I ain't there no more. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Towards the time that I wanted, I just didn't have enough time, and it was one instance that I knew that it was time. I got
mm,
a call to um, be flued out.
flew
Somebody
out.
wanted to fly me out to some place in the states, and they wanted to fly me out for a couple of days, like 3 days, to film them. It was an artist. They wanted to fly me out and do some behind the scenes of them for those 3 days. And I wanted to go, but of course it was during the week. It wasn't like a weekend thing. It was like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I was just like, I mean, really, I was gonna go either way. I That was just my mindset. But I even told my boss that, like, hey, like, this is what's going on, because that's, like I said, he was a cool boss. It was A1, and I it ended up falling through. So it didn't. I didn't go because I guess it got postponed or canceled, whatever. But I didn't go, or it wasn't in the budget. That's what happened. It ended up not being in the budget, and I didn't go. But I wasn't necessarily hurt, but I was like, dang, like that would have been a cool opportunity.
Right.
And so because of that, I'm like, if I'm getting these literally, my this is the exact thing that I said to myself. If I'm getting these calls now, and I'm just doing this half time, I'm like, what kind of calls will I be getting if I do this full time?
Mm.
And so that was it. After that, by like 2 days later, I was like, okay, that's it. It's time to go. Let me put my 2 weeks in. Let me let my boss know, and that was that. So
Wow.
that's literally how it happened. I
Wow.
literally had that much faith. I didn't even think about like, oh well, of course I thought about all the pros and cons, like, oh, what am I gonna do if I quit my job? But I wasn't like stressing, or I wasn't scared. I was I wasn't scared at all. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to do it. It was mainly I was concerned about telling my parents.
Yeah.
That was it. Other than that, my parents, they were like, I don't know if he should make this move. And I was like, Mom, Dad, I promise you, like, I'm gonna be fine. I have that much faith in myself and in the Lord and God to know that he ain't gonna leave me if I do this, if I make this move. And I just know he wants this for me. So
Woo! That's good.
so
He
yeah,
wants this for me. That's
yeah.
good.
So because I literally there's no way I could have been at this point without him. So yeah.
He wants this for me. That's good, bro. That's so good. And if he wants it for you, then he obviously put the resources in place
What?
for you to be successful.
Boy, get out of here.
This ain't no sermon though. But so do you ever see yourself? This is good, and we're coming up on a close now. But do you ever see yourself going back to a 9 to 5?
No, no. I was thinking about that today. I have to move. Um, I have to move. I don't have to, but we're me and Jamal. That's my roommate. Jamal and I are looking at getting a new apartment here in Charlotte, and of course they're requiring pay stubs and bank statements and all that stuff. And of course, it's typically from a 9 to 5 and stuff. And I was just like, like they want to see all this type of proof of income and stuff. And I was like, if I had a job, it would have been a lot easier. But no, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. We gonna figure
Yeah,
it out.
yeah.
But nah, I can't do it. My life is so peaceful now.
Mm,
It's so much more peaceful than it was before. I literally can set my own schedule. I can do what I want to do, still be productive and have fun. So it's
yeah.
great. No, I would not.
Mm. So you have some people watching right now, even parents that are parenting kids, and their kids want to pursue unorthodox routes for success. Uh, for them to probably entertain the conversation, it allows them to cringe,
Yeah,
probably,
of
right?
course. All parents will. Well,
All
majority.
right, all of them are just cringing right now. Or you may have the individual where they are literally wrestling in between, should I stay with the orthodox route that I'm on, or should I now embrace this unorthodox route that has been cycling in my life or has been giving me benefits every so often? And
Hmm.
like you said, if it's giving me this at part time, what in God's name, on God's green earth, would you give
Agree.
me if I'm full time? So what advice, bro? What encouragement do you have to those that want to embrace the unorthodox journey, just or unorthodox route, just like you have? What advice do you have for them, bro?
So this is for the parents first, and then I'll get to anyone that's wanting to be an entrepreneur full time.
Okay.
Parents, uh, this is in all respect to you all, but let your kids explore. Let your kids find what they want to do. I do understand that they're under your roof, they're under your rules, and so you have specific things that you would like to see from them, and I completely get that. But in order for them to really find out what they want to do, they have to try things. and in order for them to try things, that requires patience.
Yeah.
And so that is something that, of course, as a parent, you have to have that. But yeah, I would say definitely have patience and talk to them. You you won't know until you talk to them. They
Yeah.
literally may want to be a firefighter. I mean, they want to do something, and they never talk to you about it because uh, you have expectations of them that they didn't want them to have.
Yeah.
And so literally just talk to them, figure out what they want to do, and help them. They will be more uh, what's the word I want to use? Um,
Receptive.
receptive. They'll be more receptive to talk and give whatever information they want to about what it is they want to do in life if you allow them that space.
Yeah.
So that's what I have for parents. For people who are on that edge, on that breaking point. So I didn't say this earlier, but it wasn't like I just said, "Oh, I'm just gonna quit tomorrow." Like even though I said it was a couple of days after, it wasn't like I didn't already have a plan in motion. So by that I mean, like, you're saying like, oh, how am I going to pay rent next month? Like that was already set. That money was already set aside. How am I going to pay all these bills? Like all that money was set aside in my savings. So it wasn't
Mm.
like I didn't have money to live off of for a month, for a couple of months. That money was already set aside. So if you do want to do this, just go out in faith and do it. What are you waiting on? What are you scared of? Do you not believe in you? Those are all rhetorical questions. But honestly, you have to have a plan. You have to have a plan. So are you going to stay on this job? Are you going to stay on this job for another month, another 2 months? Like, how much money do you want to have saved in your bank account for you to live off of, just in case things don't pan out the way they do? And you have a community, you have friends, you have family. There are people who, if you explain this idea to them, even if they may not, well, let's just say you have people that want to see you succeed. You have people that believe in your vision. They're going to help you out. And you literally, all you have to do is ask, and you shall.
Come on now.
Okay, so yeah, you literally can just ask your friends, ask your family to help out, help your vision, write it out, make it plain, and it can happen, and it will happen if you believe it. If it will happen if you believe it, will happen.
Yeah.
So that's all I have. Yeah, that's it.
Now this is good, man. I think we're gonna do a series of unorthodox routes to success. Cause Hurley, he's on now, and he just, well, he's always had success, and even most recently, he's had some great moments of unorthodox success and routes to success. So I think we're gonna do a series.
Okay,
But it was great, bro, to have you on to talk about that because
always a pleasure.
you took a huge jump.
Yeah, and this was funny. Like everybody, like literally everybody is always, because a lot of people still don't know I do this full time. So when I tell them, they're like, "You do this full time?" I'm like, "Yeah," like as if they're already supposed to know. But I keep forgetting that this is not like a simple thing, especially like something as and as unorthodox as photography, videography. Like a lot of people don't really think that you can make the same amount of money they're making on their job doing this. So
Yeah,
it's always funny to hear people say like that. Oh, you took a leap of faith, or you did this, and because it didn't seem that big of a deal for me. But I guess that was my mindset since the beginning. So that's why it's never been that big of a deal.
right. Because starting off like part time and then gradually going into full time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, man. This was great. Giving some insight and
Yes.
some tactics to really embrace this unorthodox route that we may be feeling. And I think the biggest thing is like you said earlier, like God wants this for me.
Yeah.
And it's like thinking about, okay, if he wants this for me, then obviously there's somebody that needs it.
Obviously, there are billions of people on this earth, and you telling me you can't make money full time doing whatever you want to do? And you can use the excuse that, oh, but everybody's doing this. They're one of the biggest things: eyelashes, nails, hair. those three uh, categories or markets are super saturated, but
Yeah.
people still making money. So what is it? What is it?
Ask him that.
So yeah, you can throw that excuse out the window. Okay, just because everybody doing it, don't mean that you can't do it. Because my dad told me there's something that you have that no one else has.
Mm.
So you just got to figure out what it is.
And it doesn't take long.
Doesn't take long. But I'm done. Drops the mic.
All right. Well, you started shifting for a minute, so I didn't know if your cup was empty. I didn't know if you still had some drops in there.
That's all right.
Want to you want to get all of it out. You got to make sure you get all of it.
You funny. No, I'm done for tonight. I'm done. That's it.
Yeah. But they don't have something that you have. So, hey, man, I think we've been here for about 30, 40 minutes now. We appreciate you, bro. This is the guy that does my videos. He's behind the scenes, recording my videos, allowing me to evolve in the space that we're in, this motivational space. So he records my stuff, great quality. I don't even want to say good quality, great quality. I remember when he recorded the video right before the pandemic. Was it right before the pandemic or right in the pandemic? It was in it.
Yeah, it was in.
It was in it. It was like March, like
Mm-hmm.
late March or so.
Probably so.
And so we had the virtual career fair. That was like no May June-ish, something like May. I, I, okay, whatever. Uh, in the pandemic, but he recorded the video, and what's crazy is to see you go from just recording videos as a side job, and I remember the price, and back then you weren't even charging, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna just give my boy
Yeah.
Brandon something because I appreciate his work, but
Yeah.
to go from not charging to being in high demand.
Yeah. That's a blessing.
To go from not charging but to being in high demand is just crazy, and like seeing you evolve. And I think there's so many tips, bro, that I hope people are listening to tonight as far as environment, knowing who to be around, because those people can sharpen you immediately,
Yeah.
knowing what you want to do, having the work ethic, etc. But just seeing you evolve, bro, has been amazing. And if anybody is getting to the bag, you get to the bag, bro. You get to the bag.
I'm doing my best, doctor. I'm doing my
The
best.
creative hub is getting to the bag. That's all I'm gonna say. Hey, look, man, we appreciate you again. If y'all are watching this at some point in time in life, write down some notes, right? Tell us in the comments what you enjoyed from Brandon's video, right? Or his information. And then I would love for you to come back and say, I started my business. I would love for you to say that I literally stepped out, and what was unorthodox is now in real time. It came to fruition. So I went from the orthodox movement to now unorthodox. So we'd love to hear your stories, your
Yes, for
business
sure.
come to life. We'll love to hear you say that I stepped out and I stopped making excuses,
Yes.
because not only did I want to do it, but God wants me to do it too. So look, we'll hear from you again soon. Every 2 weeks we're doing this, so we'll be back again. But in the meantime, in between time,
In between time.
watch this video, take those notes, and let us know what you got going on.
That's right.